Gentrification Part 2. I don't know what episode this will be, but it's an episode. Art Conundrum podcast. All right. So the last time me and Christina met for Part 1, we spoke about how we would start each episode, and my suggestion was that we start by, asking each co-host, um, what's been going on in their lives for this week or the past week. So, Mr. Watson, let's start with you. Go on.
Why go on? Nothing and nothing and go on.
Nothing
Nothing and go on, nothing and go on. But is for me right now is the same kind of humdrum. You know, which me have to try desperately to talk myself, reason myself out of, the conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to move, you can't move. Enough things, there's money, there's people around you, the space around you, all of them things, they become a problem. And it's not just a problem yesterday, it's a problem that we are live with, that we are trying to change.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely important for me, to start produce some stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's my major concern.
You want to maintain the practice.
Yeah, I want to maintain the practice, but I also want to talk because I say I'm not a dancehall artist, so there's no ear out there for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the only, say one time as a youth, I did see myself as a singer. Never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Try, it never really happened. So I figure say sometimes always control your thing, and feel like the universe steer me a certain way, and that's why I end up hard because me have to talk still. It's not necessarily a man who I go load up on all of that and be part of every forum. But from where I am, I figure art is a space from which we talk, and therefore I will still practice. It's not money right now. Me now I give them a work, but it's not money where me I will do it. It's because that's where me can talk. So, but as it is, doctor them everything all right. So health wise.
Okay.
Yeah, me I go on. Me have some little things I deal with, but
Yeah. But me want to talk to you specifically, about the art scene back then in the 80s and so on. So we might have a one-off episode with just me, or maybe we can include everybody. I don't know. But so the project for now is to start back working. Start work again. Start
I
paint.
suppose based on what me I do now, me can say me start back, but not to the extent where we can, show things and say, me produce things. Right now, I thought, so I make marks, I'm put it down, come I go back to it, come I work for idea. They have some stuff where, as you remember from before Jamaica, we left Jamaica, was thinking about me still have the man-woman relationship thing, we have to deal with because I've noticed the object to and what we want to do is encourage man to make a move differently. Not to separate himself and woman still, but to play their role.
I'm glad you said that. Let me just write that down. All right, Xavier, what's been happening?
For the past week, I've been engaged in a project that's been funded by the Ministry of Culture and Gender, or one kind of, but the Ministry of Culture and Gender. It's a mural project. I'm extending because I give it more walls. So it's in the middle of half a tree there right now. Me and another artist kind of spearhead that project there. We like 80% through with the first part of the wall, first set of murals. And so we have a few more to do on that same building, in that same city, because the feedback and what them see so far from the project.
Which building?
The PBC building right across from PBC. Jamaica Broadcasting. Yeah. So it's right across from the Alpha Tree Transit Center. When you come in from Mullines Road, and you go through the stoplight, it will be over your left, also. Yeah, right across.
And it
You
has
know,
always been there.
Yeah, it has always been there, man. Let me get a next. At the building where I'm trying to figure out another name for it. But them always do like videos and recording, and them do the government broadcasting thing.
Yeah, me
okay.
know of them now.
JIS thing them, and them produce JIS and them programs there.
All right. Christina Godfrey, how was your week?
Um, it's been okay. The seclusion and everything have me away, but adjusting to all of that. I have been working on obviously the collection that I do and I trying to close it out because it was 2020 that I released it. So I'm trying to close it out kind of and rethink going back into something new. So I've been working on that, and also I joined another project that is not art related, it's more social advocacy related, and trying to secure funding. So there's a couple of lead up things that we have to do, and so we're engaged in that now and planning. So it's a lot of that, a lot of in Zoom meetings and Zoom exhaustion.
Who is spearheading that project? If you don't mind.
It's a youth-led organization. I can't really say much because we're still trying to get the funding.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want to. But
So them not out in the public as it.
no, they are, but I don't. True, we're still trying to secure the funding and to trying
Okay.
to finalize some things. But it is a youth-led organization, and the funding is through UN and like partly through UNESCO.
Oh, but
Um,
yes. Oh, so you already have like
they're trying to like train us and make sure that we're
okay.
ready to get the
Okay.
funding and receive
Okay.
the funding. Because that's what a lot of the new organizations who are giving out money, they try to
Yeah,
train you on.
they require that.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
required?
yeah.
Can you tell us the name? If
Of the organization,
Mhm.
it's called Youth Inspiring Positive Change. So that's the
Okay.
organization,
Okay.
and the funding organization is UN and UNESCO.
UNESCO. Okay.
And then, other things like, just trying to figure out life.
like
But
like like all of us.
yeah,
Like all of us.
yeah.
All right. All right. So for
You know, say
me,
what going with you, what happened to you?
yeah, well, that me I go say no. For me, so I've been working. Well, I don't know if everybody know, but some of you might have known that I kind of fell out of love with just the creative process. I kind of fell out of love with just creating and making work and expressing myself through my creations. And I kind of that has been rejuvenated. So I'm taking part in the Atlantic World Art Fair. Um, Susie Wang presents. She brought me onto the project. So I've been creating work um, and improving on work that I already had to include into the fair. And yeah, that's basically been my week, just painting non-stop.
How it
Um,
feel though,
how it feel?
given that you had um, given up on it and then now you are reintroduced and partaking?
it feels it feels the same, but I think the mindset might be different now because now I feel more focused, right? I'm have goals from an outline, very clear, specific goals, and I'm working towards those goals.
That's
And
art related.
yeah, man, I like art related. Even the podcast art related, and that's one of the things that I wanted to do this year by the Nook or the Crook. So yeah, that's basically been my week, which in a nutshell can be a metaphor for my life in general. But anyways, so Christina and
Young
I
still.
met. Yeah, well, not really, cause me I'm 29 this year, so me
You're young.
I get up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Me I get up there.
You realize, say,
You're the
you realize
youngest
say you
to
not
ever
grow up.
be.
You not reach 68, but you not grow up or feel like you grow up until you reach 60, So
No man, me feel like me I grow, man.
life
Me
really
feel
What do
like
short.
you
me I grow,
mean?
man. Me feel
Mr.
Yeah?
like me I
Watson?
grow.
Well,
Mr.
Mr.
Watson?
Watson might be in a year time, but at 34, I'm feel like I've been here too long.
No, man. Yeah, hey, let me tell you, when me on my 50th birthday, me panic, And I said, what me I do for earth? What have I done? Them thing that seriously, And is that one me have a talk to the counselor like, and them I say, boy, you look at all that you have done and what you have been in and all of them thing there. And that kind of rest me a little bit, but when you reach my age, you understand what me I says to you.
That's
But
always what
me
the
sure me
older
I go.
folks say.
Well, me
That's
sure me I go
always.
feel
Yeah,
older.
because maybe it
I
is
go feel
true.
older. Me nah say I'm not true. But maybe we are gonna just feel older, but me feel old now.
But then you gonna feel like you just start grow and just want to grow. All the
Well,
things
we'll
you
see.
miss.
We'll see. Maybe next 30 years we find out.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So Christina and I did part one. Um, we discussed several things. We never really got into the nitty gritty of gentrification downtown. We kind of we kind of spoke about other things related to gentrification and just the broader idea of gentrification and certain occurrences of gentrification here in Jamaica are policies that seemingly are want to implement some kind of gentrifying measures. Um, so let's start off by asking the question based on all the articles that you have read, right? Said several articles. Based on what you have read, is gentrification happening downtown? Mr. Watson, let's start with you.
Earlier, Xavier said if it sound like a dog and feel like a dog and look like a dog, what is it?
A cat.
A
No,
cat. A cat.
no, it's a dog. But if you look at gentrification in and around the world, the template that them use is no different. So you find that we don't know, and I suspect that somewhere somebody sit down and make the decision that we have to make a move now and downtown, because downtown is supposed to be the cultural capital and all of these things supposed to be happening downtown.
Right.
But them never the aesthetic never wasn't presenting that. So we find that, for instance, as I deal with the what's the new people
Kingston
Kingston
Creative.
Creative.
Kingston Creative. If you look at let's use Soho for instance in a New York,
Mhm.
which was a thriving art district at some point, and when it was dilapidated and running down and run
That was
down,
built organically.
in no, it was a structured committee before it
Okay.
ran down, and then the artists come in and the artists make sense of it and recreate it. And then what? If you go to Soho now, you can't afford the real estate or anything anywhere near there. And every other part of the world will find that is the same kind of system. We look at I some time ago spoke about, well, my first experience or my first interest in gentrification really, because before that it was a word, and it's a new word too in terms of its real meaning. So sometime in 2009, I was in Baltimore, Maryland, and it was East Baltimore. It was a whole community. Everywhere you walk, it's a needle because drugs and all them things. And then, I call on him still because, copyright and whatever other reason. But there's this big company who was behind moving out. They must paying people $2,000 for them houses. $2,000 for houses that them living for generation. You see me?
House and land, $2,000.
$2,000 until somebody got on board, lawyers and all of that got involved, and therefore they were paying them more, but still even less than the value, because the value is more than just the money. If you look at the generation after generation who lived there. But I went to a meeting because I would want a job with a project too. And I went to a meeting and I hear a man, and he's a black man, to say after the particular company rebuild houses and doing what they're supposed to be doing, them going to need somebody to clean them crap. So the people who they're moving out would be living on the fringe. And then once the place is built, because them can't afford the house to buy back the house when them come in. So they must say after this big company do what they had to do, people have to come back in, but they have to come back in on the train and the bus, come work and clean the crap and go back out, that kind of thing. If you look at Jamaica, for instance, we notice that everywhere you have an affluent community, you have a ghetto beside the kind of thing. And if we trace the history of those communities, it is going to be part of a gentrification process. We're going to split up communities. There are a number of places in Jamaica, and it might be small because Jamaica is a small country, but the template, as is happening with Kingston Creative now, is the same as all over the world. And there might have been an intent. So they might have sat down and had meetings and determined that this is how we're going to approach it. It might not have been. It is just an organic thing that is happening, but not dissimilar from a lot of the things that happened before where gentrification is concerned. So
Did
I
you?
was looking at.
Well, and then Mr. Watson, one question. Did you read the interview
Which
between
one?
the NLS interview of
No.
Kingston Creative? All
No.
right. So in that interview, several questions were asked, but I think the most interesting one was question 9, and let me just find it real quick and just read it. All right. So question 9: does Kingston Creative feel a responsibility to ensure all long-standing marginalized communities downtown are not priced out or displaced from living there, but reap equitable benefits from the Kingston Creative project? Now, the way they proceeded to answer the question was, the first thing they did, they outlined that bad government policy was already being introduced that could potentially gentrify certain communities, right? They're making reference to Delroy Chuck's 2013, I think it was, controversial policy where he was advocating for real estate
Buy them out.
developers to go in and build up some stuff. But the interesting part in the response was Kingston Creative actually claimed that they were trying to prevent gentrification by proving that downtown has cultural value in an attempt to stop all of this. Now, I don't know. I don't know how true that is. Just I relate the information, but I kind of find it ironic that they're claiming to prevent,
And then further
wanting to prevent.
and then further said that the projects that they put on gives the community more agency to earn
To
and
earn, right?
Oh,
and
Right. Well, that's another
and
question. How?
and have ownership of, there's a line about ownership of the murals in a way that also gave them way to facilitate like tours and stuff like that.
but we see how far-fetched that is, though.
It sound. Listen. And this is no, we're not implicate Kingston Creative in anything.
No.
But these are questions that need to be asked because it can be mismanaged and lead to the same thing where they claim to want to avoid. Because how will they ensure that community members or people downtown can take advantage of these opportunities when they arise? What are they doing to ensure that, right?
First thing, who own the spaces that these murals are being done at? Who own the
Good,
space?
good, good question.
The ownership of that space determine that okay, we can make some money off it.
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
are
yeah,
these
yeah. Make
people?
reference
Well,
to we're
well,
talking about corporate spaces, right?
yeah.
And not and
Yeah, but
okay,
because all of them space owned by corporate. All
Two is two mural project they have,
right,
and
right.
one
We
of the
spoke about that,
mural,
right,
the mural
Christina,
project is those central business district,
right.
and then the murals in communities such as
Community,
say Raytown,
right.
Trenchtown, Tivoli, and I guess Water Lane would be a community led one
well,
mural.
maybe those others were part of their initial trust, but I don't know because I know they started.
Mm-hmm.
and and based on what we know that's where they had intended to work. It has expanded over time for one reason or the other, and maybe because of the interest too. What I'm saying, how do you utilize this to prevent the people in those communities to be part of it?
Mm-hmm. Xavier,
Um, I think that's a good question. I think, for one, the statement about who owns the building is pertinent and important point of reference. Who owns the buildings? Who controls the tours? So let me ask now, are we saying that we have a sustainable economy out of just murals for people?
you're talking
Just the
Kingston
idea of
Creative.
using murals to
Mm.
drive like the workforce, can you sustain that with just putting pictures on a wall?
Well, I don't think.
What
Well,
you mean?
we have to be clear.
No,
Kingston
because
Creative's intent is to create an
It's
art
a
district.
catalyst.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's an art district.
Right.
So it's an art district that what deals with what?
Art.
Muralism.
Mm.
Murals.
Right.
Murals. And it employs artists.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for one, from my understanding, the artists that are being employed, especially the ones from the inner city, are earning next to nothing from Kingston Creative. This is from my understanding.
And
I'm
you
not
have first hand.
advocating.
You have first hand knowledge.
I have first-hand knowledge of this, right? I was invited to one of the programs where one of the receipts for a project, a mural artwork that I did, because they must say, oh, we like your work and so forth and so on. Would I like if you join the organization? So I say, all right, we show up a mural, come and paint, we do a drawing, and I say, we use that. So I say, how much should I pay for this? $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm a trained artist. Now imagine the untrained artist when I will get. When we think about these things, and we talk about allow people to earn, what will the people earn from these things? What kind of living you can really earn from something like this? Is it sustainable?
Right.
That's the
And
first thing. Is
yeah.
it sustainable? That's my question. Is it sustainable? Two, who controls it? Mr. Watson asked that. Who's controlling this thing? Right? Now, me not say the process of gentrification was started by Kingston Creative by no means. No, we
Mm-hmm.
know about policy do this. The
Mm-hmm.
communities were already on the fringe of
Mm-hmm.
the corporate space downtown. We know this. But do you think that putting murals in these communities will solve their problem, both economically and socially?
Well, we see that on the periphery of all of these spaces, crime like rampage, done dead town, and baby I get shot. So we see that it has no relationship right now. I don't know
So
if
it's not
the space is directly the sideline of these murals if they see change or there is some income, and so people start thinking differently. I don't know, but I think when we had this discussion to one of the things we noticed that right now the murals are located to a very specific corporate area, and we know that right there, so not really crime not really erupt as much as if you just walk like literally down the road. Somebody must dead yesterday. You understand what I say? So I think that has to be a part of the discussion too when we're talking about the effects and if people within the community have agency, or those buildings, as you said, the property value goes up, and then they start moving in more in terms of corporate spaces, start moving, and people start have to move out and go more into the spaces of violence and so on, and they're not really benefiting from the murals per se.
Is
All
the
right.
is the
Can I get a
artwork?
second? Sorry, Mr. Watson, not to jump in. We just want to put this before I forget. And this was something that I found in the Gleaner by chance yesterday. I think I sent it to Twane. And it reads, the Prime Minister Andrew Holness says that person must be given the opportunity to utilize government agencies in order to maximize their potential. There are many agencies that hold land, building, and other assets, and sometimes they are just languishing on the balance sheet. No, we never want to read no more of that. We know what that mean.
That enough for we.
That's enough for we,
We
and that's
know
enough for the
who
fringe
we know who.
community.
Yeah, we know
So
who
in
we
other
matter.
words, what them a do are open up the space for their investors, both overseas and locally, to come and take advantage.
But I also think that we who you think like can benefit also need to push up a face into some of these
Of
policy
course.
makings.
Of
And
course.
I think what is done very well by Kingston Creative is that they have positioned themselves as the link between creatives, space, developing space, and this
broader
idea,
project.
right? And this idea to mobilize and develop
What space we
downtown.
talking about, Christina? What space we talking about? Because there's outside the building where the murals are, and there's inside the building.
No, I mean, as an organization, they have positioned themselves to be the
mediator.
the voice
Middle.
to be in the room where these policies are developed, where if you can see they start already, they have a space which is called the hub. They have partnered with the owners of the hub and Swiss stores, all of that. So they now do have a space downtown. Whether it's leased, whatever, they do have a space. And where they position it in a way that this is for the creative and we manage it for the creative. So I think it is on the onus is on us as people who are looking at from the outside saying, oh, is that just one space? Sorry, they also have the artisan space, so which is in UDC building. So
and what
they
happens
are
in those space?
but they're saying that they're championing for creatives and people of the local community to develop. But may I say is it is coming here to one and say we're not gonna benefit. We're not, but if we position ourselves to say what do we need to be a part of, to have criteria to fit their criteria to say we can move now into policy development and of how we want to see downtown develop,
Can I?
and just being able to get space.
I am going to agree with you, and in all fairness, Kingston Creative is concerned. these are some of the things from the very beginning I heard from them. But one of the things I was asking also from the very beginning is if you have a art district, for instance, for the artist, for me, because me is a painter and all that, where are the studios going to be located? So that when somebody come from wherever come downtown, them have a studio, them can go visit, them can call the artist and say that kind of thing. Where we heard talk of the art district. We are the lines of demarcation because there are. So it is within a certain space and not beyond whatever. And I'm not sure that at this very minute those lines are clear because when initially I don't think it had gone over into central or that. So now that there is a focus going over into central, is it the art district or is it just Kingston creative extending themselves a certain way? And I want the spaces to be available for the artists. If you look at
And
the
the
country,
community.
Israeli community no need to say, not so much the artists too, but yes, the community. But
Yeah,
how do we reach the communities? Because painting the thing on the wall is might just seem like something that the people who live on the fringe can pass by and look and say something are going over there. So, but how are they going to be involved? How are they going to be able to claim and say, I mean, do that, kind of thing. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to push brush, but it can also mean that them have a say. Some people might have the opportunity to be in on some meetings because you might have prior knowledge of something. Some people are never going to be within those meetings, and where policies are concerned, they are never going to be involved. And it again, what we're pushing is the agenda of the people who own the spaces and the people who have the interest in seeing downtown look a certain way. Never mind that there are other communities, other places in the world that have been successful in, but only in within a certain terms. The real people are not going to be involved. Me as an artist, you know how many years neither they are not said, "Yes, face have to do my work." And once you approach somebody, the money gone up, the price of the space gone up and all of that. Me not make money. And therefore how the society sustain me and make me be able to be part of that. Come and paint the picture or paint whatever it is that I'm painting, make the art of that, and therefore can involve other people kind of thing. I don't know that this is a process at this point. Because remember
And that's interesting because we are saying now it now benefit the artist and it now benefit the community.
no, me never say nah benefit. No, me I say it, we know who we might talk to when him.
No, it not well. No.
So just
What Mr. Watson say? Well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because Mr. Watson say how does my murals even if I go in as an artist and I'm painting on the walls and I move away from it, or I'm finished it done and everything and beautify the space. How do I beyond this get in this space? How do I benefit in the long term? That's what you say, Mr. Watson?
in the long term,
in the long term, as an artist, as a creative, as a part of them demographic. And also the discussions before, how is the community even being able to get ownership and access and benefit on the long term? So we are saying the community, nor the artist, nor benefit. And so it becomes who then benefits.
well,
Who
I
then
mean,
benefits?
we're still in the early stages of this thing. I think we can. Well, we can ask the question, but we're still in the early stages because I don't think them really get this thing off the ground for we really see what the outcome will be. But what
But we're seeing the outcomes, Go on.
Christina, what would I like for
We're seeing the
us?
outcomes already.
What would I
are
like?
some of the outcomes?
For one, when I go there to Waterlane, right, with my big camera, whatever, I take picture, I take it and take it and take it. And you look so, and you look so. And you see the people that are watching, they not interact with you. They just stand up there and look for you and
take the camera.
they never take my camera. They just look for me and I say, it's like more observatory more than anything. It is not a point where we intersect and we gel. It's just almost like these things have moved the scars and they're pretty and they can take picture.
So what you just said then, Christina, that there is more marginalization then.
How separate this has this is to them, to their life, to their everyday thing. You understand? And I just went down there one time.
So my question to you, based off of your observation, your one-time visit and probably other visits on other sites, is that the community and the people become more ostracized then and removed from the process?
It felt that way, and because I wasn't the only person going down there to photograph. I was like the second set of people within the hour that came down there to take photos. And I believe it may ostracize them, and nobody, even though this is the same lane that they live on, and you can't drive through it because they put up these cement boulders up in the road, so you can't drive through it no more. So I do feel like they're a bit ostracized and left to live and look kind of thing. No,
but then
intersection.
You come back to the original question.
And they're not benefiting monetarily.
What will government policy or Kingston Creative do to ensure that these people these residents who actually live in these communities can take advantage of opportunities that might arrive out of the Kingston Creative Project? I don't see it. I know they have the craft market.
I don't think they benefit from that water lane mural right now.
I know they have the craft market where they invite craftsmen and craftswomen to come together and get an opportunity to sell. But a lot of the time, because I've been to the events, them include people outside of the community as well. So, and you have to pay.
And then people, they really are network with each other.
Right.
So people of the same class and network and leave the poorer echelons on the fringes.
What will they do to ensure that community members can take full advantage of this art district when it comes to fruition? That is the question.
There are some lessons that have to be taught, to the people, because sometimes the people them need to know what them should understand from it too. Let me give an experience that I had in the initial stages when they were starting. I was part of some discussions, and we were at our place, Twani, or where we work at the time. I'm not sure if I call them yet.
Multicare.
All right, so we were at Multicare. So we work in a community. Here's what we do. We go into the community on the street side on a Saturday morning, and we carry all the art material and the tables and the chairs and the picnic, them come out and them do them thing. So when they were talking, when Kingston Creative was talking about going into the community, we say, all right, you can come one of the Saturday when we have a thing. Or maybe we even put it on a Sunday when you have your artwork so that you can come out and see what go on. The man over there so have a bar and can set up an extra stool so the people who want to do the walk through can buy a juice and all them.
Right. We didn't make a proposal. Yeah, we make a proposal.
But guess what them say? Bring the children come down to where the hub is and whatever. We benefited in some way, right? Joannica, we were able to sell some of the stuff that the children made and it could have been ongoing. But efforts have to be made to make these things sustainable. But what me I say is, if you never come in the community, then because you don't want to have people uptown to go in the community because we never know what might happen, which I want to think that's what they might have been thinking. But it would have been such a glorious way to engage the community, right? The people from uptown, just like how them go to Raytown, go dance, kind of thing. The people from uptown come in and the community actually in there because, to be honest, things will go on, but me not see, certain things that go on.
And that's a concrete.
So Mr. Watson, even the reference to Raytown and the whole music what they play, did that even really help the community
Where they come, where
sense.
that they know, that not there. The lead no move our thing on somewhere else.
And
Yeah.
what
What
happened
is
to
that?
Raytown?
What is that? What is that?
Raytown, the dance, the
The
retro
wallets,
this thing, and where Raytown they know? Where's Raytown? Still there, suffering.
and the people them stay the same way. Yeah, let me tell you, when me tell you, I experienced having a Raytown, you know, when we just started with art on the street, Tuani, before Tuani come on board. We go to Raytown and we're having the class on a Saturday too in a center down there. And every Saturday for a while, picking them come and after class them stone them one another because they want to come from that street and I want to come from that street. And a true art, you know. And we talk to them, but through art, and we organize through art. And after that, all of that cease. And we get some of the best work out of that program, from that program. I what I'm really trying to point out. So the art can be more than just something on a wall that people are going to look at, but it can really function within the communities and really bring the change.
Can
Bring the
remove
art
social
change.
inequality.
At this juncture, I think I should mention that on Kingston Creative's website, um, their claim is that the community have 25% involvement in
Their target. Their target.
the target, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't know how you measure that.
25%
I don't know how you
community
measure.
involvement.
Right. I
In
don't
what?
know how
And
you.
the meaning is that the teams that develop murals should include artists from the community. That's the involvement.
Yeah, but how you measure that? Remember that was a question I was asking. You know, you measure
Yeah,
that 25%.
but Godfrey,
What does that represent? You know, the reason why I bring that up is to say it seems like they might have an idea of how they would want to involve the community, but I think they need more. I mean, tours. How does a tour through the community help the community? Because that's one of the biggest things that they're pushing on. They have the art walk and they bring people on the tour. Are the people going into these shops in the community to buy anything?
I,
How the community benefit? I don't know.
one of my issues also with just painting walls, as I said, people going into the shops, at the development of the house, the living condition and spaces of peoples in these communities. So if you paint these walls and then the roofs still a leak, them still not a way for feed 9 children, 7 children, 5 children, 2 children, what have you, then you can't see no change. If the wall still a breakdown and you go and paint a picture on the wall, so you fix the surface of the wall, but it's still a tear down, which we see, we know, so that a lot of the times this is what is happening. It's just a superficial or prettying up of these inferior structures, especially in the districts that would be closely or as close to the red line districts in the
But guess
United
what?
States as possible.
Guess what, Xavier? These buildings are deteriorating and they're going to be gone. The murals are going to be gone. And then
Exactly.
after that, who own it? And who
Who
are going
own
to
it?
fix it up? And what it will look like?
So let me use this as a point of departure to go into our next thing because we kind of talk about Kingston Creative for a very long while and it's bigger than them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, theoretically or hypothetically, right? This is how I think gentrification could occur. I'm wanting to tell me if I'm wrong. If land ownership in these communities are not clear, right? Once the value of the properties in the corporate area start to go up, it have a trickle down effect to the communities, right? Because of proximity, we know that, and based on how downtown is set up, you have one corporate district, then you have a community, then you have another corporate district, then you have another community. So based on those proximity, it will have a trickle down effect on land value. If ownership of the land is not clear, then government can just go in and just move these people off. How much, what percentage is captured land and what is owned?
And
Me and Christina, we spoke about the same housing problem in the Americas, which is a big conversation now. Generational, the mishandling of the proper way of passing down ownership of wealth and land in the Americas, right? I watch a documentary about this. I might send it to the group. We can discuss it another time. And them clearly show you how after a lot of black people were given land in America, they were not really educated on how to properly on how to properly pass down ownership of the property. And what you have happen is every relative own piece of it, and then it's a confusion, it's a conundrum. People start sell their piece, their half or their section, and then when you check it out, one developer own 50% of it, and therefore him can run you off, right? So this is a hypothetical way in which this gentrification can occur in downtown.
So,
No agree on this?
So, Tuani, one next point of reference is you're of the assumption that the land belongs to the people.
No, I'm asking how much of them
Because I can
actually
tell
own
you
the land.
definitively, for most of the inner city communities, the land is not owned, but leased or rented by the people in the community. They're paying, they're not owned.
Right.
So who rented from who?
A lot of the work, a lot of the lands, they're owned by outsiders. The same people from they're owned there, and I can speak directly.
You mean other Jamaicans own the land and rent it to them? Or a
I can
government?
say other Jamaicans, yes, but other Jamaicans from a different class, and some of them, most of them, a lot of them, different ethnic backgrounds too.
Okay. There was a part of a building that I was looking at.
Yeah,
some Virgin used to run it as a gallery to in the inner city there, near to Wheel. And me see the building too and start like the building and was thinking, it's something we could, approach. But when we really search, it belonged to somebody from the other class. And who not doing any work on it right now or have any intention of doing the work on it right now. So it's going to be staying there in that condition until the price go up or whatever, but they're not selling it or anything like that. And there are a number of cases, the houses that the people them live in are rented houses, and even when them intend or expect that they might be able to get it to buy, you can't find an owner. You can't find an owner. There's a friend of ours.
Wait, hold on. Come again. You said them rent it, and in cases where them want it to buy, them can't find an owner.
Right.
So who them pay the rent?
So who them rent? Yeah, right.
Over time, them stop pay rent.
And the person who are collecting not necessarily, not necessarily, them don't own it either. But it's a man that do a thing. A friend of ours, as I tell you, Tuani, a friend of ours who we both know. Same way, she was living in this place and she was paying rent. But when she find out who she pay rent to, she don't know who she paying rent to, or she know somebody collect the rent. Eventually, what she went and did is she find out when the tax was paid, when tax was not paid, she started paying tax on it. Now she own it.
Okay. We talk about
you know how we talk?
No, but
we talk about the
me know the law will allow you to pay the tax, and then after a while
right. But some of them think they go on, but and then you
find
no.
Say it is hers now.
It is hers. It is hers, and she got through enough blood, sweat, and tears to for the process.
I don't feel like I know that person.
No, you don't know her. You don't know her. You don't know her. Tuani know her.
You should have asked her if none they beside her where she can
help you. Checking, man. We've been checking and
because now she's a professional, you know. Now she have skill now, you know.
Yeah, she got two things and she no far fears. She was very afraid and of her fears because she comes to me all the time, this person has show interest again and people have said this and people have said that. But me have to say stick to it. You have a lawyer, go through the lawyer, everything, and eventually she a point person around her south
Well, in that case, yeah, man, we know we are talking. In that case, then that sound legit to me. But I know personally of other cases where you have people who live on the land, relatives of past generational owners, and people literally just pay the tax and just move the land from under them.
Yeah.
You understand? And we know the law. There is a law that allows for that to happen. Speaking of law, there's another law called the law of adverse possession, right? Which the gist of it is that if you occupy the land for a while, I think it might be the similar thing. You can actually seek ownership of it if ownership is up in the air.
Right.
But then
recently
it comes.
the government gave a couple people land like that. They gave them
Really?
their
Where?
I forgot look where, but it was on the news. A lot of people got land
Okay.
because of that.
Okay. But it come back to the question with downtown. I mean, are these people secure enough? You understand? Are they secure enough? Are they knowledgeable about these things and how to prevent it?
No, and they don't have the confidence to approach certain people to, people start a process to look at how, any transfer, if possible, can go on and all that. And me tell you, if this was to happen on a large scale or a larger scale, they're going to find that them going to find that them can't afford the place.
But this is why they need to get moving, because I'm not opposed to corporate going back downtown. You understand? But of course, we can't allow gentrification to just happen and then a bag of people lose them dwelling, right? So
Is gentrification always bad?
we'll soon get to that. We'll soon get to that. But just to close out this argument, right? People living in these communities downtown, they need to educate themselves to ensure that everything is in order in terms of ownership of the land, ensuring that them secured, because when corporates start to move downtown and property value start to skyrocket, it not gonna take much to push them off, push them into the sea.
All right.
There's a poet where it said that.
My position on that is that, I mean, we understand that people need to be educated, right? And all of that. But think about it, one. Now, in the middle of the hustler and bustler staying alive, you can't think about philosophical concepts, you know.
Yeah, but
survive.
That's not philosophical. I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
And it might sound easy, but think about it.
Yeah.
If you ever take up additional stress, if you go pay tax when you can't even afford rent and food.
It's a conundrum. I mean, think about it.
Serious issue that, you know. Christina, you might look at it and say, yo, me I come from the inner city, so me can tell you, mother has 7 children, living in one room for many years. My mother couldn't find it for many years. She couldn't pay the rent for many years. She not have no land. She not have nothing, and she could have do all of that. But what was on her mind was the survival of her kids and the survival to people who are, let's say, less educated and less connected, is eating and eating.
But
and sometimes school and education.
Same for my mother.
But you want to know, say, if a community, even within those realization, if a community was to come together and decide this is what we're going to do,
right?
All of that will change. Here's an idea that we want.
Because government policy are going to be the thing.
I have experience of even a community coming together. I can tell about a community that tried that. Rivoli, where me come from. Rivoli is a riverbed. And the minute we start trying to own the space, you see a man coming in. You see a man coming in. We no bearing on the space at all.
Yeah. You expect that the people have come out of the woodworks now to say, I mean, people. One time I have an idea for do a thing we call Color Off My Street. And what it really means is that the community come together So you utilize the skills within the community. The man that can do carpentry, the man that can do plumbing, we fix up the house and at least the aesthetic change and look different. And have a cost. No man have to run you down for if money. All we know is as a community, this is what we're going to be doing. And we can get companies to provide paint and maybe lumber and all that. But
that's in the interest of the developers, though.
Me understand that.
Brilliant idea.
And to compound what you're saying, Mr. Watson, there was a man, I make it short, but there's an architect who he went to go on a study abroad, whatever. But the general idea is that his community within the space did not have education, was low, income low, and him leave and say, one of the things that him can do to change the space is to build schools. And all them say, where the money are come from, And the man go back with him skill. One man go back with him skill of knowing how to build school because he's an architect. Go back and tell it to the people, tell it to the chief, all of them. And all of them build the space out of mud, cement, and by themselves.
Where
this happen?
Nagana.
No, this is not Ghana.
There's a similar thing we know about Ghana. That's why I ask.
but him go back, build the school, buy the people, everybody, children, all and move stone, everything, and this thing can happen. No, the amount of money
different mindset, spent, different society, different mindset.
No man.
Yeah, but people can be trained. But because we not people in position who gonna start with the training or the concept.
That is how we never come now. What I say still is that the people in the position in Jamaica to make them kind of change, kind of social change, it's not in their best interest. Because they're not coming from these communities really.
But when I say Xavier, the people who are in the best position, the people who are affected.
Yep.
Give me a second. What I'm trying to say is this. The point that Christina made was the Virgin was an architect, right? He have a set of skill, and not only a set of skill, he have a network where he come with. He have a whole group of things where he can carry with him, right?
No,
where the network come from, and the people of the community.
And he never graduate yet. He never graduate
All right, so
yet.
Him want do it.
Third year.
Him want do it, but he have a set of skill. He have a set of skill, and he's been educated in a certain kind of way, where even the carpenter in these communities, the carpenter, the builders, and so forth and so on, they have access to that chain of thought.
Right.
Which is something where you culture into people.
Exactly.
Right. This is what we said.
I agree with that.
This is how
that's where the education comes in.
If we pay attention, I said, when a community is impoverished, certain concepts are hard for grasp.
Yeah.
Of time for these concepts. Survival are the key.
I think we discredit some of the mindset where them have. I think
I think what Xavier mean is that it have to be a collective effort. It can't be one, Definitely. 2 or 3 people.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Give me a
That's
second.
exactly what I'm saying. But we have to train.
Right, but what Xavier said that is not the case. It now gonna be a collective effort because the line of thinking is not there.
Right. So the education is what is going to be important. How educate people and sensitize people to the things that they more need, if we appeal to them, I try to appeal to them a certain. You see, every time we go in, if the policymakers and the people in certain positions, every time they are going in talking about money and what you can make and all of them things there. What we need to do is go in and talk about the change that is necessary, the change that them need, and them know what them need, and this is how you're going to contribute to the change that you need.
You can't always trust them know what them need though. I mean, me just said
I agree with that,
Yeah, the onus is on government to implement policies, right? Because look, we already recognize that if the people in the community, right, most of them might not have the wherewithal on how to even approach these kind of things, right? The onus is on the government to install policies that can ensure that when corporate start to go back downtown, we don't have
And
people who end up right. We don't
gone
want a
down
bag of homeless
already,
people. You understand?
which they
Downtown.
already do.
Let me just but
Corporate
we're talking
never
about
left.
government policy. This is the best
Corporate
time to
never
say
left.
this.
Them take the
Still there.
situation where them
So,
can
so
leave
let me
and
just
come
let me
back.
just read Delroy
Yeah, I tell
Chuck's
you.
controversial urban renewal policy. Let me just read the thing. So an article was written by Carolyn Cooper, right? Criticizing Delroy Chuck's policy. No, this is a response that Delroy Chuck made when people start come down on him about the policy, right? I quote, my proposal is for the government to use the Housing Act or any necessary law to acquire large tracts of property of at least 5 acres in communities such as Vineyard Town, Alman Town, Rollington Town, Franklin Town, Swallowfield, etc., and enter into joint venture agreements with private developers to build affordable apartments with private developers. To build affordable apartments and townhouses in closed and gated and safe communities. Now, is a member of parliament said that to me. You hear what I'm saying? So we know the government now go help them.
But you know the community where when represent, he must have poor people, but him come from up there, so he can't say anything. Make him him develop a friend them a chance to come in now. Create a way for them to come in, come make money out of the people them again. You know.
Well, that's beside
Exactly.
that's directly what we are saying still, Mr. Watson. That's what we've been saying.
Right, the government now go help these people.
Government not gonna help them, private sector not gonna help them, and them not really have the agency to help themselves
They
either.
help themselves.
But there are
That is
some
something
people.
that
There are
needs
some people that
culturing.
we are having discussion now, and you want to just say you have to have government policies, but some government policy might be important, but how you sensitize and educate the people in a certain position to deal with certain things is going to be also very important.
So who will educate the people though? That's my question to you. Who will educate the people?
I think
Educate
a part
people.
of the creative should be that should be a part of it.
So
But
and
this is what me I say.
that should be, but who are
That's
they tied
ultimate.
to though? Where them
Huh?
interest lies?
Them
Kingston
interest
people.
don't lie. That's all as far as
The
me see.
interest lie within the communities.
Me have no people may have to apologize, but me have a hour and a half
Yeah.
driving to do. And
All right.
Yeah.
Good
me have to
talk.
go make a move. But I did want to approach gentrification at different levels, on a social level, mental level too, based on certain things I may say. Because gentrification is about change and how you change yourself. Maybe that's what we're talking about now. How you change yourself, how you change your headspace, how you change the way you approach things that cause things to happen that you don't want to happen. Is one of the direction made it want going, and eventually maybe we can still talk about that. But it's just gentrification with an extended meaning, if you want to put it that way. All right, Virgin, don't take care.
All right. Yeah, man, Mr.
All
Watson.
right.
Thanks.
All right.
All right. So I think this is where we do outros. Christina, I think we find you click together mode, and that's how we end up on the great steps of what is the Buddha temple.
It's still there.
Yeah, you still up on it, man.
Me still up on it.
I'm
Me,
still on it.
I'm not
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you
take a
probably.
look now, yes, I'm
Click
not
it
laughing
off.
at it.
So the question is how you change it for everybody, but when you change back, it not change for everybody.
I thought I was just changing it for me. I didn't know it was
Skype, you know.
changing for everybody.
Skype is a conundrum. All right.
But what I'm on now is large grid. That's what
Okay.
I'm on.
Or maybe we have to change it for ourselves.
Yeah, I figure more. But me like it. Me no mind it. Me
I mind it.
There are
Oh.
different
Kind of have
flavor.
a vibes. Maybe we want to get a different one though.
Yeah. All right,
Like
Christina.
a class
Oh,
one.
sorry for cutting you. Christina, where can they find you on social media, and what you have planned for the upcoming week?
I well, it's end of coming to the end of the month, and so I'm rounding up the month because I still have to operate as a business. So I'm rounding up the month, and then I'm preparing for next month. So that's what that is, like preparing and so on. But you can find me, since you insist, you can find me on Instagram under Heavy Manners, and you can come back next week, the next recording on the Art Conundrum.
Podcast.
So that's where you can find me.
All right. Xavier.
Well, you can find me on Instagram, Xavier Harton _Pinax.
Yeah.
Facebook at Xavier Harton. You can really use Facebook. Or you can find me here on the Art Conundrum every week. Having a great old time.
And any plans for the upcoming week?
Yeah, a whole heap of things. A lot of uncertainty. I still have this project going. I have 3 shows coming up in the summer. I plan for
Any names?
one in New York and such. So I have that I plan for and I prepare for. And then we have to think about the next semester. Yeah.
Oh, because you're currently
Get
enrolled.
some
Well,
more
we just
funding. I know where to
right. The viewers need to know. Xavier currently enrolled in my pursuing MFA.
Right. Yeah. Enroll in an MFA program. It's frivolous attempt to be an artist.
All right. And I guess for me it's on Instagram Twani.Sinclair. Changed the name recently, it was just Twani. And yeah, you can find me here on the Art Conundrum podcast as well. These are early days, so forgive us. We still are trying to figure out the little kinks in how the technology work. And yeah, hopefully you guys join us next week when we upload our next topic. The next topic is NFTs, right? Maybe. Because how we
I feel like we can
is
go as
not determined.
episode 3 on this, because we really not going into gentrification as a thing yet, We just have to talk about
Well, I think you have to leave some room.
We
can revisit it. Maybe we can revisit that next time. Is what
yeah. Maybe because this is like our third recording.
First.
I don't want to talk about this gentrification thing anymore. Without, I just feel like me need to go do something now.
Something else.
No. I mean, like, talk. I feel like maybe me go capture a building and just do something.
See, that me I think about do. Me send to one, I think, You see him one less thing. Me send him it, and him for send it to you too. So me I think about land as a matter of fact. I want to capture some land because me I think about like chicken raising.
Wait. Let me cut off the recording and then we continue. All right, everybody. Join us next time.